Hello, this week in this series I am going to work on CodeIgniter forms, and you are going to learn about everything you need to know about CodeIgniter forms. Here I am going to create a new directory in our history docs. I am using XAMPP server and Apache and MySQL are running, and we just need web server. I am not going to work on databases, just showing you how you can work with the forms in CodeIgniter. Command Shift N for creating a new folder, and I am calling it as CodeIgniter forms. And if you are following from my previous series, that is PHP forms, I am going to reuse the same form in this CodeIgniter forms. I have downloaded this CodeIgniter file from CodeIgniter website. You can go to CodeIgniter and download this file. I am extracting these files here. These files are extracted, and I am going to move this to CodeIgniter forms directory. That is our root directory, and I am going to delete these two files. Okay, that's it. And next, this is application directory. I hope you already know about this application directory and the directory structure. We are mainly going to work on these controllers and views, and if there are any database operations, I'll work on models also. And in config directory, these are configuration files. If I need to make any changes to our core configuration files, I am going to access the files in config directory. Okay, and I am going to drag this directory, that is CodeIgniter forms, into our Sublime text editor so that we can work on these files. Next, I am going to copy this forms file, and here is previous versions. This one I am copying this file. This is a HTML form. I am going back to our CodeIgniter forms directory, application, views. Inside views, I am pasting this form1.php, and I am renaming this to form.php. Okay, let's load CodeIgniter forms in browser. I should see welcome controller, localhost /CodeIgniter forms. This is a welcome controller, and I am going to create a form controller for our form. Let's go to application directory and controllers. Here is a welcome controller. I am going to create a new file with the name of form.php for form controller. And I am going to reuse the statements from this page. That is welcome controller. Controller name is form and extends CI controller. I am going to create an index method, public function, index. Here I am going to load the views, that is a form view, and in form view I am going to move this into template files. That is, this part will go into header template, and this part, that is, this part will go into footer directory. Let's do that in this video. And here we have only one single file, so it's not required. Still I am creating these template files so that if I am going to create any other files, we can reuse this template files, header and footer. I'll create a new folder inside views. I'll call it as templates. Inside templates, I'll create a new file, header.php, and after that footer.php for header and footer. I'm moving this footer part into footer section, into footer file, footer template file, and this header code into header file. PHP forms, it's a CodeIgniter forms. Okay, here also heading, page title, CodeIgniter forms for developers. Okay, here in this video I have downloaded CodeIgniter, already downloaded CodeIgniter zip file. I have reused it in our CodeIgniter forms project directory and copied this form file from our PHP forms video series, YouTube video series, and reusing the code. Have reused the code and created header and footer template files. I am going to load these views in our index controller method with this load view. If you want to learn more about CodeIgniter basics, check out my CodeIgniter basics course. I will provide the link in description. And this load view will access files and views directory. First of all, I am going to load this header template file. After that, a form. After that, footer templates /header. We don't have to add any extensions. I am going to copy this statement couple of times for footer and form. Footer. For form, we don't need this templates directory. It's already in views directory, so you can add form. Extensions are not required. Let's load this index.php /form. Here you can see the title, CodeIgniter forms for developers, and here you can see this form. We are missing these styles. That's because I haven't copied this CSS and JS files. Let's view the page source. If I click on this bootstrap CSS file, 404, that means this file doesn't exist. I am going to add this into assets directory, these CSS files, JS files from our PHP forms folder, project folder. I am going back. I am in PHP forms. I am copying this directories and going into CodeIgniter forms. Here I am going to create a new folder with the name of assets. Now we should access these files. Let's click on this once again. This path should be indicate like this, assets. If we can make this path like this, then these styles will be loaded. For that, I am going to use a base URL, CodeIgniter's base URL function. For using base URL, we have to load form. We have to load URL helper. Let's add it in header. Without loading the URL helper, we should see the error. Echo base URL. Syntax highlighting is not working. That's because this is selected as HTML. I'm going to close this file. Footer, it's already PHP. I'm going to reopen this. Okay. And after that, it's assets. Let's load this file in browser. I'm reloading this source code. Here you can see there is an error. Call to undefined function base URL. If I reload it here, you can see clearly. Error, call to undefined function base URL, because I haven't loaded this URL helper. I should load URL helper for using base URL function. I am going to our controller method, index controller method, this load helper. URL. Let's load it again. This time it should work. It's working, and if I reload, we should see the path. Here is a complete path. If I click on this path, this file should be loaded. It's working correctly. I am going to update this path. I am going to add this base URL function to all these files and the files in footer also. We may not need them, but still I am adding them. Header. I am going to copy this PHP block, pasting it here, and let's go to footer template file. If I reload, should see all these paths. If I click on all these links, this will load. These assets will be loaded properly without any error. Okay, and one more thing I am going to do it in this video. I am going to check this form input fields before proceeding to the next video and adding form validations and accessing these submitted values. I want to check this form inputs. Form.php. Name attribute is added. Name attribute is added. Name attributes. Okay. Name gender. Value male. Name gender. Value female. Name age, and here the value attribute empty value. It's not added. Okay. Now it's done. Next I am going to work on accessing these submitted values with the input class, CodeIgniter's input class, and adding PHP form validations. I am going to work on that in next videos. Thank you for watching and do subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, please post it in comment section.